Hi guys, and welcome to week 3 of the summer of stitching. Thank you so much for sticking with me. We are at halfway point already. Hello, welcome. I hope your summer is going well and you are spending some time looking after yourself as well as focusing on your cross stitch. As usual, thank you so much for everyone who has commented and shared the contents from last week and the week before's box. I really hope that you are enjoying opening these as much as I enjoyed putting them together. Today I will share the contents for the week 3 box, and then I want to talk about I'm going to share 3 tips on staying motivated with your cross stitch during the summer. So that will be the content for today's video. In terms of upcoming emails this week, I'm going to share some of my favourite cocktail recipes, including a couple of non-alcoholic ones, if you guys are non-drinkers. And I'm sharing my sort of favourite, I'm going to pick like a favourite bright summery floss colour from various fancy floss dyers, and I will share that with you guys as well in the second email this week. I hope you enjoy the content we're putting out there. So here is your, as usual, spoiler alarm, because I'm about to show the contents of week 3's box. The theme for week 3 is cocktail hour, and for some reason cocktails and summer/holidays just go hand in hand for me, when I started to think about what themes I wanted to do for this project, I just knew I wanted to do something relating to cocktails and fruit and all that fun, refreshing stuff. So the handmade item this week is, oh my god, it was so fun to make. It is some floss drops, and the charm is a sweet little cocktail glass with a little lemon on the side and loads of teeny weeny little fruits, and a whole lot of glitter and shimmer. And it's got this sweet little cherry charm that goes with it, and a combo of lovely coloured floss cards that kind of match with the whole theme for the week. So I really hope you guys like that and that you've got a fun summer project that you can put your thread on and use it with. So that was the handmade item this week. I had a lot of fun making those. The non-handmade stitchy item this week, I knew I wanted to include some floss in one of the boxes, and who better to get the floss from than one of my absolute favourites, which is Weeks Dye Works. And I wanted to pick 2 sort of summer colours, and it took me ages to pick because I love so many of their colours, but in the end I've gone with, again, I'm indulging in my branding for cotton and clay, and I've gone with my 2 favourite colours, which is like a bright pink and a teal, and the 2 threads included this week are Weeks Dye Works Peacock, which has got the most beautiful variegation, lovely green to blue variegation, and Weeks Dye Works Bubblegum, which is like one of my favourite pinks from their range. It's just, it's bubblegum, it's pure bubblegum, and I just thought they were like beautiful summer shades. Keep an eye on the email this week and I will share some more of their beautiful summer shades. And your non-stitchy gifts this week were, I just thought this was too much fun to resist, a little ice cube tray, but the ice cubes come out as pineapples because why not? Why not make some, use some, I don't know, orange squash or something, and a little bit of edible glitter, and mix that with water, put them in here, and then you've got some super funky ice cubes for your cocktails. If anyone uses this, I'd love to see the results. Please tag me. This is your second week where there's a little bonus present, just like there was on the first week, just because I wanted to give a bonus present this week. And it's on brand, and it is a little cherry bracelet, which is super cute. Really, really cute. Should have put this on really for the video. Yeah, so that was your bonus present. And then sticking so closely to the theme, the sweet treat this week was some Jelly Belly cocktail classics jelly beans. Gin and tonic, pina colada, mimosa, Moscow Mule, margarita, strawberry daiquiri. I have tasted some of these actually, and the pina colada and strawberry daiquiri are pretty close in my opinion. But yeah, I just thought these were so much fun. And so on theme. I was very excited to find that they did a cocktail sort of packet. So that's what's in this week, and that is the email content that's coming this week. So now I just wanted to share 3 tips for staying motivated with your stitching in the summertime. As I've said before, we all do a bit less stitching during the summer, which is completely understandable. We're out more, we're more busy, it's hot. Sometimes it's been so disgustingly muggy hot, as you guys who follow my Instagram will know. I've been moaning about it non-stop, but it's been so muggy so far this summer in the UK. And unlike other countries where it's muggy, we don't ever have any aircon. So it's just been not at all fun. So sometimes it's too hot to stitch, literally too hot. I can't have the cushion on my lap, and the whole setup and the neck lamp is too much. So we all do a little bit less stitching during the summer. That is to be expected. But I just wanted to share 3 tips that I personally use. You do you, but this is just 3 tips that I personally find helpful for your keeping you motivated with your summer stitching. So number 1 is make a schedule. Not everyone is like into schedules and, you know, that hyper organized, but then some people really are. I know people who use spreadsheets, who use the cross stitch planners, who are really into it. So it's completely individual, but for me personally, having a rough schedule is really, really helpful. I don't stick to it religiously. I'm quite flexible. If I don't feel like stitching on something that I've put down, then I don't, and I forgive myself for that. I'm not completely rigid with it, but it just helps to have that rough schedule. So I do this in a couple of ways. So at the beginning of the year, I've been doing this the last couple of years, and it has really helped me to sort of stay productive with my hobby. I set out, floss tube helps actually, because I did it on a video back in January, so that helps to keep the motivation going. So everyone should have a floss tube channel. That's my other tip. Just start a floss tube channel, and it will really keep you focused and motivated. But what I do at the beginning of the year is I lay out a rough guide of the new starts that I want to work on each month, and the whips that I want to work on each month, and the whips or new starts that I think that I might have a chance of finishing in that particular month. And that really helps me. And then, so I do that as a schedule for the whole year. And then for each individual month, I keep a list on my phone. So I do the first one on the computer, and then for each individual month, I keep a list on my phone where I literally write the dates and what I'm going to stitch on that day. You know, I tend to stitch in between a 2 and a 4 day group, depending on what I'm stitching. If I'm stitching something quite quick, I might only do it, or equally something massive that I just want to do a tiny bit of, then I might only stitch on it for 2 days. If I'm really indulging, like at the moment with the quacker, where I'm trying to do like one big motif each month, then I will give myself maybe 4 or even 5 days to stitch on that. So I line it all up, and then I know that I can exactly know what I'm working on. So when I finish each project, I go back on my phone. I use the notes app on my phone. I literally write it as a list, and I can go back and look at it, and I'll know, oh, that's what I'm going to stitch on next. Apologies if you can hear my dog barking, by the way. There's always going to be dogs barking and kids going, and that's just how it is. That's how we roll in the summer in this house. So that's how I do sort of my list on a monthly basis. As I say, I'm not completely rigid. I will, flex if I want to replace it with something else, or I want to swap something in, then I will. But I just find it helps to have that rough guide, and I'm not sort of feeling unmotivated. I'm not going, oh, what do I stitch on next? I don't know. So yeah, that's sort of my number 1 tip, is make a schedule. My number 2 tip is buddy up. Making stitchy friends has brought so much joy to this hobby for me, and they also help to motivate us, right? So for the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 years of doing cross stitch and being involved in the community and then starting my small business, I didn't really have any like stitching besties. Obviously I knew people and we chatted a little bit like via Instagram comments and stuff like that, but I never really knew how to bridge that gap and sort of become super friendly with someone. And then I think it was when I started to go to retreats and to chat to people before retreats that I was able to suddenly start making some real friends and some real connections, and it's just been lovely. And now I've got a good chunky handful of people that I can call my stitchy friends, that I talk to, some of them every day, but very regularly, and it's just great joy because they're people from all over the country, all over the world in some cases, and it's just one of the best, most fantastic things about the cross stitch community, is the community, and is making those connections with people who you might be different to in most other ways, but you've got this shared common interest, and it's too much fun. So good ways of like making friends with others in the stitching community, as I say, going to retreats is great, especially if the first one, if you go, you're totally on your own, you just throwing yourself into the deep end, and you can then make connections with people because you'll have no choice. But everyone at retreats that I've been to, everyone is so hyper friendly and lovely, and it's not difficult to chat to people. Stitch alongs is another great idea. Sometimes there'll be a stitch along and then a Facebook or an Instagram group will get made specifically for that stitch along, and that's a great way of like all making friends, or just getting on Instagram and Facebook, Instagram in particular for me, and starting to comment on people's work and asking them, you know, where did you get that pattern? I love that, and what are you stitching this week? And then maybe slipping into each other's DMs, and you know, it's a great way of making friendships. But my point is that if you buddy up, it is a great way of staying motivated with your stitching, because you've got that cheerleader there egging you on and you're egging them on, and it's lots of simple encouragement, stitch alongs, start alongs as we've started calling them, and it's just like a great way of keeping yourself motivated. And my third little tip about staying motivated, or about stitching in the summertime in general, is to just forgive ourselves. At the end of the day, it is a hobby, okay? It is a hobby, and hobbies are so important, as I'm going to talk about in a future video, but I never tick off every project on my list. So the list I'm just talking about, I never tick off every single thing. There's always something coming up and days where I don't end up cross stitching, and that is okay, and I'm okay with that, and I just move on. I bump it to the next month and I get over it. Equally, my schedule that I make for the year has even more flexibility in it, because it's, you know, what I put in January isn't necessarily what I'm still going to be wanting to stitch on in December. So just forgiving ourselves, accepting that we are going to stitch less in the summertime, so we shouldn't set impossible goals. So if our stitching schedule is slightly lighter in the summer, then that's probably good. And definitely don't be disheartened if you don't make all of the stitchy goals that you set yourself. It's completely fine. It's just a hobby. It's just for you. You're only in competition with yourself. And yeah, we should just make sure it's never stressful. And if you don't feel like stitching, then it's fine. Like, there's been many nights lately where I've been quite frustrated because I've wanted to stitch and I couldn't because it has been so hot and humid. And then, you know what, just forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, it's fine. If all you can do is sit there with a nice cold cocktail or a cold drink and some ice in a tea towel on you, which I have done lately, then that's what you need to be doing. And during that time, if you don't want to stitch, then just watch some floss tube instead. There's a million floss tubers you could watch and catch up on, that will keep you sort of feeling good and feeling motivated with regards to your stitching. So that's my little video this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed everything that's in your box this week, and I really hope you're enjoying the summer of stitching in general. As I say, as always, I look forward to all your comments and feedback, so thank you so much. I will see you next week for week 4, yeah, we're at the halfway point already. And I hope your summer in general is going well as well. Yeah, so I'll see you next week for week 4. In the meantime, take care, make sure you're looking after yourself, and happy stitching. Take care. Bye.